Okay, welcome. Happy new moon. It is the what is it today? It's the Sagittarius new moon. How could I forget there for a second? So there's a lot going on, so we're going to cover all of that today. And also, I just want to say at the beginning that are kind of changing things up, moving into January. So the next new moon class will be different. And I just wanted to kind of talk about it. We're going to do some of that today, but I'm going to kind of tell you how it's going to go. So we're going to learn about the sign and we're going to learn more about the current astrology. So I'm going to kind of lean more on astrology, and then we'll do a longer setting, intention setting, meditation ceremony, which we're going to do at the very end today, as opposed to partway through and then I finish with the astrology. I just feel like it's like, let's do all the learning part and then let's do the ceremony and the more intuitive part, and then not have to shift gears. And then also the ones upcoming, I'm going to focus a little less on the aromatherapy, although today it's still talking about that. But I still will do a slide that talks about maybe like 2 or 3 plants specifically that are supportive of the energy and why. So it's not going away completely, but the emphasis is going to be less on that. And then I encourage you to bring your charts starting in January as well, because I will, allow time at the end to answer questions. And if you have your chart, it's easier than, then you can look and I can ask you questions on it and you might be able to answer them better instead of just trying to like remember it. So, and I'm going to move them a little bit later in the day too. So that's kind of what's coming starting in January. So we can talk about that more just at the end, but I want to kind of give you a heads up since it'll be a little bit different today as well. So before we jump into everything, let's just take a few breaths and just kind of ground and just get into our bodies and let go of whatever else has been going on today. It's the new moon. It's the time when the sun and the moon come together. So we'll just take a few breaths, but we'll do more of the meditation later. So just feeling maybe your feet on the ground or your seat on the chair. Just remember what it's like to be in the body and take a couple breaths. Okay. All right, I'm going to start off and just jump right into sharing my screen so we can look at everything that is going on to start here. So it's so weird. When I first started, I have to like click this specific part to make it start going. So, okay, here we are. Here's the new moon chart today, right? And we know that the new moon happens when the sun, the bullseye, and the moon come together, right? 23 Sagittarius 08, right? And then Mercury, which is this little purple character, is right there with it. Okay, so these are all together. And when Mercury is with the sun, let alone separate from when the moon is there as well, it's considered this time when Mercury is on the other side of the sun from us. And so it's considered this time in the Mercury cycle where like Mercury is the guide of souls, right? It's called the psychopomp. Some people are familiar with that term. But it's when Mercury is like guiding souls through the underworld and the celestial world. So ancient people always saw when any planet was hidden with the sun, right? When it's next to the sun, we can't see it. It's too bright, the sun, that it was hidden, and it was that planet going into the underworld. And it's this seeding time. That's why we plant seeds and set our intentions and do ceremony around the new moon, because it's when the sun and the moon come together, and that's the beginning of this moon cycle. Okay, but right now Mercury is there as well as the fact that we have the a solar eclipse happening. So we can't see it here in North America. It's down like in the lower parts of South America predominantly. So it's not something we can see, but it's still happening. It's still an energy that's taking place on the earth. And we had the lunar eclipse at the last full moon. So those 2 weeks, 2+ weeks from that time until today is considered the eclipse portal. And so it's this time of, kind of like Mercury being with the sun, it's this opening. There's this portal in time of when we can move back and forth through things, right? We might get deeper understandings of things. It's a time, it's kind of like a super moon, extra charged up new moon time, is essentially what I'm trying to get at. But you could be feeling a lot of energy coming through, a lot of maybe you're having awarenesses or epiphanies, that type of thing. That's a lot what an eclipse portal will do. So it's like an extra special day to do our new moon ceremony. And I just wanted to show you a visual picture of it. So the sky is obviously darkened out because we can see things here. So the sun and the moon are here together today. And then you can see Mercury is really close. So if I hadn't darkened things out, you wouldn't be able to see any of it except the sun, right? But here's where, this is what it looks like right now in the sky, okay? And you can see Venus up here, right? So Venus is in the morning sky, right? If we kind of wound back time and the sun was under the horizon, you'd see Venus out in that early morning time. So Venus just went through its conjunction with the moon, okay? So the moon came across here on its way towards the new moon. And when Venus and the moon are conjunct, that's the next gate within the Venus morning cycle. So we say that Venus just moved into the second chakra gate, the sacral chakra gate. So it's this time for a month for us to work on, anything we want to clear or shift or clarify or heal around our second chakra, because Venus is on the way to meet the sun and go into the underworld just the same way that Mercury is there right now. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that so you could kind of just see the visual, because it's nothing we can actually ever see. Oh, here. So this is where Venus and the moon, whoops, I've lost my cursor there. Venus and the moon were together. This was on Saturday that this shifted. So you can see how much the moon moves just in a couple of days, right? It was with Venus right there. And then now it's with the moon. With the sun. Okay, so let's learn about Sagittarius. Okay, so Sagittarius is a fire sign, right? So fire signs are all about intuition, kind of that place where you connect to spirit, source, that type of energy. It's an in service to spirit sign, meaning that it looks through the lens of serving spirit and what it does. It's right brain. So fire signs are right brain, meaning they're not like linear the way air or earth are. Water and fire are more right brain, more like circular in their thinking. It's a masculine energy, doesn't mean male in gender, right? Women can be Sagittarius. It's just that it's a masculine, or you could think of it as like a yang, a more yang type of energy. And it's the energy, it's the time of the year that brings us up to the winter solstice. So the winter solstice occurs when the sun moves into Capricorn, which happens a week from today at 0 Capricorn. So Sagittarius is that time that leads us to the winter solstice. All of the in service to spirit signs lead us into the solstices or into the equinoxes. So Sagittarius is a lover of truth, higher truths, universal truths, right? Spiritual truths. It values honesty and being straightforward, because it's all about truth with the capital T, right? It's about a spiritual quest. That's what Sagittarius is here to do, is like it goes on an adventure. It's an explorer looking for spiritual truths and meanings. It brings those truths it learns through its adventures, its explorations, its philosophy, all of that kind of searching type of questing energy. The truths it learns, it brings back to and teaches the rest of us. That's how Sagittarius is in service to spirit. It's always about a quest for meaning and purpose, right? What is the meaning of life? What is the meaning of the universe? What does spirit mean, right? These are the questions that Sagittarius asks. It's always looking for that deeper spiritual meaning and purpose. It values freedom and change and growth, right? It's into adventure. It likes to shake things up. Sometimes people that have a lot of Sagittarius in their charts are ones who, want to go on a road trip every weekend, or they're, off to, Vietnam for a month, or right, they want to like go searching physically, like get out there in the world, right? It can be the philosopher, so some of it can be some kind of study, but it's more through action. That's how Sagittarius wants to learn the truth. It has a real enthusiasm. It's considered the pioneer, right? Visionary, the philosopher. It's a lot about expansion. So when we've been talking about the big three, the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto conjunction of the past, this whole entire year, Jupiter is the planet that's really resonant with Sagittarius. So Jupiter is about expansion. What it touches, it makes bigger, right? So that's how those two are similar. Sagittarius boldly goes where no one has gone before, right? It's about expanded states of consciousness and new horizons, visions, frontiers, right? Sagittarius wants to like learn and grow and like climb the mountain to see what's up there and see what truths it can learn by being so high up in the sky, right? That's what Sagittarius is all about. Okay, and then the spiritual aromatherapy that supports Sagittarius there's plenty of them, but I picked a couple. So the first is Laurel Leaf, Laurus nobilis, which is a bay leaves. So if you've ever cooked with bay leaves, that's what laurel leaf is. And it's an evergreen shrub, or it can kind of be like a small tree, but you can see the pictures here. It's native to the Mediterranean. It's usually steam distilled from the leaves. And laurus means to praise, and nobilis means like renowned or famous. It's a symbol of a triumph and achievement to the Greeks and Romans. So you see kind of ancient pictures where they had that laurel leaf crown or wreath, and it's still used, you can see different colleges will have a laurel wreath around their logo because it's like Bach laureate, poet laureate, right? It all comes from laurel and this, how much it was revered in these ancient times. All right, so the uses of laurel leaf is it's like visionary, it's for prophecy, courage, like it gives us spiritual backbone, stamina, fortitude. It awakens our life force. It's for protection, inspiration, intuition, inner vision, right? It's about speaking the truth. You can see how it relates to Sagittarius. Self-esteem. It's a huge aid for working with fear and anxiety. It's uplifting and it promotes alertness, right? So it's very Sagittarius. It helps us step into that Sagittarian energy, right? Whether we need to expand it or whether we're having a hard time with it, either way, right? It helps us get there. The physical uses is laurel leaf is the queen of the lymphatic system, which is how your body heals itself. It's helpful for inflammation and fluid retention because that's what the lymphatic does, is it clears things out. It's great for breast congestion. So any women that are dealing with, and men can deal with, issues in their chest as well, but it's a great one for that. It's considered a digestive essence because it's a kitchen herb, right? We use bay leaves for cooking. It's diuretic, so it helps us clean and clear the kidneys. It's a liver stimulant. It's antiviral, big time antiviral. So it's a big one to be using these days. Antifungal, and it's an expectorant. It helps us get things out of the lungs and the respiratory system. And then Eucalyptus Blue Gum, Eucalyptus globulus, is an evergreen tree that grows really tall, like up over 300 feet tall. It can be some of the world's tallest trees are Eucalyptus blue gum. It's native to Australia. There's over 700 different varieties of eucalyptus, and Wisdom of the Earth carries like 7 different ones. So all eucalyptus are good for helping us speak the truth. But I really like the blue gum specifically for Sagittarius because any blue essences are really good for the throat chakra, which is where we speak that truth from, right? It's steam distilled from the leaves and twigs, and any essential oil made from the leaves is always good for breathing because that's how the tree breathes. So it helps us with how we breathe. So its spiritual uses are life force connection, speaking our truth, optimism, freedom, clarity, right? All Sagittarius things, energizing, spiritual and emotional blockages. So it's also one that we could use on our second chakra right now while we're going through this Venus gate for a month. It helps with vitality, having a positive outlook, promotes a wider perspective, adventure, inspiration. It helps feelings of stuckness and constriction, contraction. And then physically, it's a huge support to the respiratory system, right? You pretty much can't even go into a steam bath anywhere that you don't smell like eucalyptus has been sprayed in there, right? Expectorant, same thing, antibacterial, antiviral as well. Colds and flus like bronchitis, sinusitis, laryngitis. It's a big immune system boost, and it helps with the urinary system. Okay, so let's talk about some of the current astrology stuff, and then we'll do the new moon intention setting ceremony. Okay, so we talked about, what's going on with Mercury and the new moon today and the solar eclipse, and then Chiron down here goes direct tomorrow. So it ends its retrograde cycle, and Chiron is what we call the wounded healer, right? And it's in Aries. So it's like, it's been taking, when a planet goes retrograde, it's kind of like it slows down in our view. It's been at like 4 degrees, 5 degrees for a long time. So it's like we get to take a deeper dive into the wounding around Aries because that's where it is. And Aries is one of those signs that's kind of been hijacked in the modern age, right? So Aries is really all about being the protector and standing up for what it believes in, but it gets this bad rap of being this like fighting warrior, like fighting just for the sake of fighting, and which isn't really what's at Aries core. So part of what a lot of astrologers are saying is that this whole time while Chiron is in Aries, that we're getting an opportunity to kind of reclaim that Aries true power of being that protector. And so as it comes out of being retrograde and goes direct, meaning it looks like it starts to move forward again, there's more action that starts picking up the pace. So it's like we've been kind of doing this internal exploration, and now we can start to apply that, right? And again, it has a bigger impact depending upon if it's, touching or pressing on specific parts of your chart specifically. Okay, and then also Venus up here is going to move from Scorpio into Sagittarius tomorrow as well. So those are some big changes, right? So adding to all that Sagittarius type energy going on. Venus is the symbol of the divine feminine, right? For male or female, we all have a feminine aspect, just like we all have a masculine aspect, which is Mars. So Venus moving into Sagittarius just means that divine feminine piece is stepping into that fiery, seeking truths, spiritual quest type of place. Okay, and then here we go, the big three, right? Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn that have been traveling together all this year are kind of starting to move apart. So on Wednesday, Saturn, the first one here that looks like an H, will move into Aquarius. And then that's on Wednesday, along with the moon will move along and move into Aquarius that day and conjunct Saturn. So Wednesday has that kind of energy lit up. And then on Saturday, Jupiter follows and will move into Aquarius as well, which leads us into the winter solstice, which is next Monday. Okay, so the winter solstice is when the sun moves into Capricorn. You'll see Mercury is still right there with it. They've just come out of having their exact conjunction, kind of like the new moon, where Mercury and the sun meet exactly together. You see Saturn and Jupiter now are exactly conjunct as well at 0 degrees Aquarius, okay? And it's starting to get some distance from Pluto, and eventually that big three will completely break up by January. So we're into like a new cycle starting next year. But this Jupiter-Saturn conjunction is a big deal, right? So every 20 years, Jupiter and Saturn come together, but not this close and not necessarily in Aries and not when we can see it. So it's been like hundreds of years since we've kind of got this sort of thing that's happening right now. So if you've been looking in the evening sky just after the sun sets, you can see Saturn and Jupiter have been slow. They've been around each other. You can't see Pluto with the naked eye, but it's been there. They've been around each other for the whole year. And now lately they've been coming closer and closer and closer together. So by the solstice, they will be completely together. Okay, so they may even appear like one star. So this hasn't happened in a really, really long time where we can see it. It's in Aquarius, it's on the solstice, right? So there's a lot going on. So I forget which like animations I put in. That's what we were talking about, that one. So it's we'll start as we do some of the intention setting meditation today, kind of leading us into this solstice and what this means. But essentially, we're moving this big three from Capricorn into Aquarius. So Capricorn is all about, what works in the world, right? What systems have needed shifting and changing, right? So we've been in this time of the pandemic, there's been the lockdown, right? All these things we've been addressing, right? Anti-racism, the political situation, right? There's been so much going on, right? Where we're getting this like look at like, am I on board with this or am I not on board with this, right? As it moves to Aquarius, it's more like we'll start to get space. So Aquarius is a sign that's like can be more detached. It's like the eagle's view, right? We can you get a little space and you can look down. It's much more celestial, where it's it can see the big picture. It doesn't get its boat rocked very easily, right? So what I'm hoping and seeing is that we're going to start to get some space from everything we've been going through, right? Starting to get some little more perspective on things. Hopefully kind of seeing some light at the end of the tunnel, right? And it's not like these things shift overnight, but it's where the energy is moving now, is into, a more consciousness focused place rather than like just straight on the earth, physical, the real world, quote unquote, of like where we've been living with the pandemic in Capricorn. So that's what I'm hoping is going to start to happen, is just getting a little bit more space, maybe some innovation, feeling more conscious in our choices, that type of thing. But it's this solstice is a big day to do ceremony, set intentions, right? It doesn't matter what you do. It's just about, you know, kind of partaking in the energy that's going on for yourself. Okay. So, let's see, is there any other thing I want to add in here? Okay, why did I write that? Oh, it's the first quarter moon as well. So it's when the sun and the moon are square to each other. So you could see the quarter moon in the sky, the half moon. You can see that at sunset. And then also, there's a lot that day. Pluto and Mars are exactly square as well. So Pluto, we've talked about, is that underworld. It's like composting. It's the thing. It's will bring up fear and intensity, right? How the pandemic has been, with the intention of us like feeling our feelings to heal, right? And so with Mars there, it's like there's more action, and especially around like the divine masculine, what needs to heal within that construct of our society for male and female, right? This is not about gender at all. It's just about the energy. So the solstice is a huge day, and that's basically what I'm trying to say here. And here is another image of it, which you can see. Okay, so the sun and Mercury are here together, Venus is over there, and then you can't read it because Saturn and Jupiter are right on top of each other here. So it's, you know, if you have clear skies, you know, maybe on the 20th, the 21st, the 22nd, go out and check it out. Right after the sun sets, it'll be the first thing that comes alight in the evening sky. And it's not something that is seen very frequently like this. So, right, not for hundreds of years. So it's worth taking a look if you're into the sky stuff. Okay, so those are all my slides. So let's start to settle into doing our new moon ceremony. Okay, so I like using a candle because Sagittarius is fire. If you have some essences, or maybe there's other things that kind of help put you in that sacred space or create a sacred circle for you. It can be smudging yourself, it could be lighting incense, whatever that is. So things I like to do is I use the hydrosols, which is the water that comes from making essential oils. So you can kind of spray and cleanse yourself with that, as well as using the essential oils from today, or any essential oils that you have. Okay, so just start by anointing yourself and just feel yourself again start to ground, right? Feel your feet, feel your seat, feel how your body is connected to the earth, and just start reaching your energy down into the earth and feeling the earth reaching her energy up to you. Just breathing, you know, as you breathe, as you inhale, breathe your energy down like roots into the earth. And as you exhale, you feel the earth coming back up and reaching to meet you. Just feel that in your heart. What does it feel like to connect to the earth and feel the earth reach up into your heart? And just feeling the commingling of those energies, right? The earth that we live on. We got our food and our medicine and our nurturing from. And then from your heart, start to reach your energy up towards the sky, to wherever the sun is, with the moon right now and Mercury. The solar eclipse Mercury is leading souls into the underworld, to the celestial world, guiding us. And then feel that energy of the sky reach back down to you, into your heart. And taking a couple breaths, feeling that exchange between your heart, your body, yourself, and the sky. And then notice the commingling of those energies in your heart, of you, the earth, and the sky, all coming together in your heart, in your body, where you can be the conduct between the sky and the earth through you. And then from this grounded, expanded place, you take a moment to think back on this past year. Since the last winter solstice, which can be considered the new year, right? We're coming into the new year where we plant the seeds of our intention for the year, just like we do today on the new moon for this moon cycle. And when you come from the place of last year, moving from today over the next week with so much change and so much energy going on astrologically, what might be your intentions for this new year? What seeds would you like to plant in this fertile, composted soil to let sit and ultimately germinate and bloom through this upcoming year? And this can be something you ponder over the next week. It's not anything that has to be solidified today. But maybe there's one thing you know you want to plant today. Or maybe there's one thing when you look back and feel into the past year that you still want to create before we move into this new year, something that continues into the new year. So begin to just settle on one intention that you can focus on, set for today on this new moon with the solar eclipse, with Mercury, with Venus at the second chakra. What's one thing you could focus on over this next moon cycle, this next month? Helped and supported along by the Sagittarius energy, the quest, the explorer, the pioneer seeking the greatest meanings and truths of the universe and spirit. How does that Sagittarius energy inspire or support you in the intention, the one seed you want to plant for today? And then when you're clear on what that one intention is, go ahead and write it down for yourself. You may start taking some notes towards your solstice intentions, things for the new year. Maybe it's ideas that are forming, or maybe you're completely set on what these things are already. But you can let that, take some notes on that, and know that that's something you can come back to and add to over the next week. And then go ahead and just tear a little piece of paper and write down what is that one intention that you're setting for this particular moon cycle. The one seed that you're wanting to plant today with all of this energy, right? We're just co-creating with the energy of the solar system, the cosmos, the earth on this special day. And then when you have that piece of paper, you can light your candle, but you're welcome to do this in any way you want. You could bury it. You could speak it into your incense. You could speak it into the candle flame and then blow it out, right? Anything that just brings the energy into the universe. And then when you complete, you can blow the candle out and just see more of your tension going up to spirit, to the goddess, to God, source. And so over the next week, I encourage you to get clear on what intentions you want to set for this new year that starts at the winter solstice, right? When the seeds are germinating in the ground, or they're really just in the stillness and they will germinate later. And do some ceremony next Monday as well, whatever that looks like, right? There's no wrong way to do it. You cannot make an error doing this, right? Because it's just about saying, you know, I was saying yesterday in my class, it's just about saying, hey, universe, I see you. I want to co-create my life with what's going on with you, right? What I see happening in the seasons and the trees and the plants and the animals and the cosmos, right? We're just in this very powerful time we've been in through the whole year we've been feeling, and now it's shifting, but it's still a lot of powerful things are happening right now. So I encourage you to, you know, take the time on the solstice and definitely go out and see the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. Our next class will be on the Capricorn new moon on Tuesday. Is that right? Tuesday. Oh, I wrote it down, Tuesday, January 12th, but I'll send out an email as well. And I'm going to do it at 5:30 Mountain Time. So it'll be an hour and a half later. I'm going to move it a little bit later. It's going to be $20 going forward. So that'll all be in email and on my website once I've got that set up. And I encourage you to bring your charts, and I'll send a link for where you can get free charts online. So then if you want to ask questions and things like that, I can speak specifically to your chart rather than me like trying to make everybody's chart in the middle of the class, but we can always do whatever we need to do. And then just like I'll do now, I'll end the recording, and then anybody that's here live, we can do the Q&A. So the same thing for all of you that are here. If anyone wants to stay, I'm here. I can answer questions about astrology, your charts, aromatherapy, you know, any of that. So I thank you for being here with me today. And yeah, thank you for trusting me with setting your intentions and moving into the solstice in 2021, right? We're all ready for some new energy and a change, and something's got to give, right? So we're all there, and I think we can, you know, our intentions help to create that. So thank you so much. And